Hello. Good morning. It's almost afternoon here. Good morning. All right. I hope everybody is doing fine. I miss you guys. I haven't seen you in a while. How is everybody doing? I hope you're having a great week so far. It's midweek, Wednesday, and I'm doing fine. My family is doing fine. We're all excited. We're all doing good. And I hope you are doing fine too. Today I want to talk about something not immigration related. You can tell my last few videos have been about life in general. So I hope to share some few thoughts with you regarding generational curses, okay, or generational problems. If today is your first time watching, welcome. This is Choco Millionaire. I'm an African and I live in Canada, and I'm originally from Ghana. I share my life experiences, my family experiences with my audience. I share information on opportunities as well, including Canadian immigration trends with my audience. So this is not a page it's a page about me and my experiences. I hope you can glean some few things from what I share and then use it if it helps you. If it doesn't help you, sorry about that. If something also helps you, I would appreciate if you can also share that with me, okay? Okay, so I want to talk about generational curses. Generational curses. The fact that we have curses means that we could have blessings too, right? Generational curses, generational blessings. Are these things even real? Is it possible that a generation in the past may have done something that will affect the generation that follows? As a Christian, the answer from a biblical point is yes. Sins of the fathers can always go on and affect the next generation. Sins of the mothers can also go on and affect the next generation. Whatever we do goes a long way to affect each and every one. My little man is playing his drum in the background, so occasionally you hear the drum making noise. Let me just move the drum from him a little bit, else he's going to be playing it throughout. He's playing his drum. A second. Okay, John, you're going to hold on to this for now, okay? Good. Hold on to this. Good. Yeah, he's just enjoying and playing his drum. Okay. All right. Generational curses, generational blessings are real. They are real. If you don't believe in curses or blessings, that is fine. But you could always do a little bit of research and see if this is true. In the Bible, generations are mentioned about 700 times in the Bible. Relationship between parents and their children are mentioned over 1,300 times in the Bible. There is a spiritual reason why parents and their children are referred to many times in the Bible, because whatever the parents do affects the children, and whatever the children also do affect the next generation as well. So let me know. Somebody is saying there is no sound. Can you guys all hear me? Let me know if you guys can all hear me. Can you hear me? If you can hear, please drop a comment. Let me know if you can hear me, okay? Manuel Cooks Hammond is saying that he can't hear me. So I want to make sure everybody can hear me. If you can hear me, please use your emojis or probably just drop a comment. Let me know if you can hear. We can hear, okay? Munira Abbas says we can hear. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, street boy. Listen to my son Abdul. Send it to Talanta Africa's WhatsApp. If you go through my old post, you'll find a WhatsApp number there, okay? You can send it. All right, so you guys can hear. I'm going to go ahead and... so my point here is that as a Christian, in the Bible, generations and parent versus children relationship are mentioned many times. Generations are mentioned about 700 times. Parents versus children and their relationships are mentioned about 1,300 times in the Bible. So that makes this a very important phenomenon for us to explore. We are also told in the Bible, we understand from the history, biblical history, that God deals with generations through covenants and all of that. He blesses some generations. Some of them attract curses by their doings, and sometimes by God's will. God doesn't curse them, but I mean, basically, some of the things that generations did in the past attracted blessings, and some attracted curses. All right. Now, there is also a question that was asked in the Bible, in the book of John, chapter 9. There was a blind man that got healed by Jesus Christ. So when Jesus healed this man, or before he healed this man, the rabbis, who were the Jewish teachers at that time, asked Jesus, who is it that has sinned? Was it a blind man, or somebody from his family? Basically, from the rabbi's perspective, they were looking at the blind man, and then they thought for him to have been born blind for several years, or for somebody to have leprosy, or for somebody to have a physical disability, right? Something may have gone wrong in the family. That maybe the family did something in the past and they're paying for it. This is a typical African thinking as well. When you see a deformed child, or a child with deformity, or somebody struggling with something, maybe physical disability, the first thing we normally look at is, who is it in the family that did something that brought this up, right? That is how we think as humans, right? So the rabbis thought about the same thing. They asked Jesus Christ, so for this old man to be born blind, did somebody screw up in the family? Did somebody screw up? And Jesus said, no. Not exactly the case for this guy. He is blind not because his parents sinned, his grandparents did something in the past, or they took him from the gods in terms of a spiritual gods or something like that. You know how some people go to the shrine, go and ask for a child, and then later on the child becomes the property of the gods, like in African setting, right? They were asking these questions, like, did something go wrong in the family, for which reason the man is blind today? And Jesus said, no. In the past, maybe it happened somewhere, but not exactly the case with this guy today. He was born blind, he grew up blind, because it was the will of God. I know. This might sound strange to a lot of atheists, right? You mean God made this man's condition like that? He made him blind so he can't see? So if that is the case, some of the sicknesses and stuff we go through, like, God actually made us go through them? Did he make us, or he gave the permission for these things to happen? That was a question. That's what we ask. Jesus said that, look, this man is blind, not because anybody has sinned. He is blind because it is the will of God for him to go through that, so that at the end of the day, God can display his works, his mighty works through him. And what was the mighty work? It has been ordained that this man was going to be used by Jesus Christ for a miracle. It was there from the beginning. Nobody knew it. The parents didn't know it. He needed to be blind for Jesus Christ to heal him, so that people can see the mighty works of God displayed through Jesus Christ, so that the glory of God will be seen by many. Today, I'm here to encourage you to sit back and reflect on your own life and see whether some of the things that are happening to you are generational, or they are merely the will of God or an act of God. This video is inspired by a conversation I had with my uncle, my junior uncle, my father's younger, their younger sibling. We had a long conversation, about 1 hour today, and I told him I was going to make a video on this topic. And some of the things we're discussing were things that we're going through in life, right? We discussed realities of life. At a point, I sat back in university when I was doing my first degree in Ghana. I sat back to ask myself, why am I going through the things I'm going through? Life was so hard. I didn't have no disability. My eyes was clear. I could see. I can still see. I didn't have any deformity physically. But I was going through series of problems. Like it was like a vicious cycle. The moment you come out of one, you're going through another one, and then they were never ending. And sometimes those problems can overwhelm us to the point where we give up on life, right? And some people will blame God at the end. Some people will blame their family members. They'll blame. Look, I blame my father a lot. Trust me. That man took a lot of blame from me. I blamed him. I said, if you had done some things right, I wouldn't be going through what I'm doing. If you had have you also done the same thing? Have you blamed your parents before? Have you blamed your parents? Have you blamed them? Have you blamed anybody in your family? Like, if my uncle has done this for me, if they had put me in school, if they had put me in this, if they had, my life would not be struggling. Today, I'm struggling because of you. And sometimes you can even have a lot of arguments. Some of us will even wish, some of us today are probably also in the same street. Like, I went through that. I blame my father a lot. I said all kind of things. I said, if this man had lived a good life, I won't be struggling. He's the reason why I'm poor. He's the reason why I was going through all the things. I blame everybody in my family. I blame my grandparents. I said if they didn't give birth to my father, if my grandparents did not give birth to my father, he wouldn't have screwed up a woman who would give birth to me to be struggling. It's possible you may have gone through this. It's possible and I'm happy Rania is saying, yes, I have. You see, Josephine, hello, how are you? Right? Many of us who go through vicious cycles. Vicious cycles are trends that keep recurring and they look so destructive. They hurt us in different ways. And it's like a pattern that keeps coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back. There are times when we sit back, we try to understand why this is happening. Is it something we've done? Is it something that somebody in the family has done? Is it something spiritual? We try to ask these questions. And I'm telling you, look, you know what? It is a genuine question. If you've never asked these questions, God be with you. Maybe your life is good. You have no problems. But so long as I know, when there is a pattern of problem in our life, every serious man or woman will sit back to ask a question. Why am I going through this? I asked that question. And I remember when I asked the question, I couldn't find answers to them. I couldn't figure out why I was going through that. The whole generation, poverty. Not just poverty. We had, in my family, there was nothing good. I'm being honest with you. That's the kind of family I came from. There was nothing good, at least in my eyes. Nobody was progressing. It felt as if nobody was progressing at all. From grandparents to my uncles, to my aunties, to my cousins. Nobody. My siblings, nobody. And me, I get plenty siblings, so plenty. I get plenty siblings. Nobody. And I was the first son of my parents. I was the first son. So as a first son, I was thinking and sitting back like, why is this happening? Guys, today, I want to draw your attention to this. Generational blessings are real. There are some generations, the good they do today, they get blessed and the blessings travel deep down the line to the next future generations. Generational blessings are real. It's biblical. Abraham had an encounter with Melchizedek. He was blessed. Generations down. His generations to come were blessed and blessed and blessed. Right? Generational blessings are real. The case is also true that generational curses are real. Now the question therefore is, what is it that man does that bring curses and blessings to him and the generations to come? The things we do, the choices we make, the decisions we make today, they all will produce blessings or curses. Simple as that. Whatever we do today, whatever we are not even doing today, they will either produce blessings or they will produce curses in our lives today, in our future lives, in the lives of our children to come. Whatever I do today, whatever me and my wife does today, we do today, will either bless our children, their children, or will curse them. Simple as that. It's biblical. If you read the Bible from the Old Testament coming, you will notice that generational trend there. It is no doubt that the first book in the New Testament started with the genealogy of Jesus Christ. You read the book of Matthew, and you notice that the first thing he's talking about is genealogy. Why? He's giving you generational account. Before even going to the details, he's telling you, look, whatever we are about to tell you, whatever I am about to write about in the book of Matthew, I want to tell you that this thing started some time back. You are only seeing the evidence today. When Matthew started with the genealogy account of Jesus Christ, he was trying to tell you that, hey, whatever you guys are seeing today happen with the man Jesus, that stuff started way back. And we are giving you the historical account so you know. Got historical account. Simple as that. Whatever our leaders did in the past as a country called Ghana or Nigeria, they've had implications of blessings or curses on us. And today we are only living the effect of them. Yes, sit back and look at it. Abraham was blessed generations down the line after he had an encounter with Melchizedek. Why? Generational blessings will flow. The same is the case for generational curses. I met a young man by name Isaac. He's a Canadian kid, white kid. He's 16 or 17 years old. A friend of mine had brought Isaac to me so I can mentor him or give him some counsel. He's a young guy, 16 years old. Yet his life was full of a lot of the garbages of life. When I say garbages, the miscreants of teenage age and period. He was smoking. At the age of 16, he does drugs. He drinks alcohol already at the age of 16. In fact, the last time we talked, he's already impregnated somebody. His name is Isaac. Isaac had already been picked up by the police many times already. They've caught him many times already, Isaac. So when he came, I tried not to judge him. We're having a conversation. I wanted to be as honest as possible by talking to Isaac. I didn't want to just even begin just advising him on life. I wanted to understand this man and see what has made him who he is. Listen to what I'm saying. I did not want to judge him. I didn't want to just pass judgment. He's a smoker, he's this. I was curious to know the things that have built him up to become the kind of boy he is. So I asked him a question, Isaac. The first time you grabbed the cigarette, do you have any memories? Do you remember at all? He said, yes. Isaac, the first time you grabbed a bottle to drink alcohol, how young were you? He said, I was about 9 or 11. I said, do you remember how you were able to do that? First time. And he told me everything. He said, the first time I grabbed a cigarette, it came from this parent of mine. The first time I grabbed a bottle to drink alcohol, it came from this parent of mine. His parents were the first people to give him a cigarette and a bottle of alcohol to drink. And he was not even a teenager. So Isaac picked it up. And I asked him, Isaac, tell me about your parents. Where are they? Oh, my dad is in jail. How about your mom? Oh, my mom is dead. Tell me, how was your mom's life like? The moment Isaac began talking, I could see Isaac doing almost everything that his parents were doing or they did in the past. His dad is in jail. He's already been picked up many times by the police. Generational curses and blessings are real, guys. There was a musician whose voice dazzled the whole universe when she sang. Golden voice. So talented. Beautiful. She battled with drugs. She battled with drugs behind the talent and the veil of the talent. She had underneath that talent problems of drugs. She died from drugs. Talking about Whitney Houston, the late Whitney Houston. And I remember an interview where they interviewed the daughter, Bobby Christina, after the mom's death. And in that interview, she basically said she wasn't going to make those mistakes. Guess what? The same specter that haunted and took the mother's life came for the daughter and took the daughter as well. Have you noticed in some families, the daughters are prostitutes because their mothers or their parents were prostitutes? Have you noticed in those families, the children are alcoholics because if you look down the family chain, you can see a trend running in the family. Oh my goodness, there are so many things about my parents. I didn't look. There was, especially my dad. There were so many things about my dad that rubbed off on me. When we use the phrase rub off on me, it means unconsciously they became part and parcel of me. I did not even realize it. There were so many things about my dad that was growing up. I was doing them. I didn't even realize it. Until that moment when I sat back, I said, no, young man, wake up. What is it you are becoming? You are becoming a chip of the old block. You've heard that phrase before? Meaning that you are becoming almost the same clone as your father. Wake up. I had to sit down and be like, no, wake up. I want you to look in your family deeply. I want you to go generation after generation. If you can go 2 generations, that would be great. Some of us are so young, so we don't know the generation before. Some of us don't even know our grandparents and great-grandparents. But look, guys, even if you can't go too deep, try and go to the generation before yours. I want you to carefully pick, if possible, write down their names. And just write down the qualities of each and every member. I guarantee you are going to see that most likely everything you are becoming or you become, somebody in the family was like that. But how is this possible? How is this possible? That the same thing that hurts the parents go on to hurt the children. And then the same thing that hurt the children go on to hurt. How is this possible? How is it possible that a mother would die from drug addiction? And then the children would die from the same thing. And their children to come would die from the same thing. How is this possible, guys? It is possible because before everything first becomes physical, it is already spiritual. We do not fight against forces of the flesh. We fight against forces in the spirit before they become flesh. Most of the things we go through today, they are not just physical. They are spiritual. The devil has a hand behind most of the things. And sometimes God may permit some of them to happen to us because he wants to teach us, or he wants to redeem us, or he wants to use that to glorify himself by displaying his works through you. You see, the very things I went through, I don't think I liked it. At a point I was questioning God like Job did. But God intended for, you see, God permitted. He allowed me to go through them because he knew he was refining me and trying to use me to break the cycle in my family. Guys, with all seriousness, I come from a family of about 15 or 16 kids. I have even lost count of my siblings. I'm being real with you. I don't even know how many siblings I have. The last time I counted my siblings, I have about 14, 15 siblings. And yet, when you pick almost each and every one of my siblings, you can see that the things that our parents did and our grandparents did, you can see similarity running through it. Running through almost each and every one of us. How is that possible? You see, the institution of family is a very spiritual institution. It is the most critical institution in the whole of the universe. When people talk about society, they basically mean a collection of families. So if you want to see how messed up a society is, don't even go far. Look at the families there. And you notice that the armed robbers come from the families. The stealers, the armed robbers, they all come from families. The killers on the road, the murderers are all coming from families. A messed up society is a messed up systems of families. The family system is a very spiritual institution. Because once the foundation is broken, it travels down. The specter just goes on like this. And it hits the next generation, and keeps going down. That is why the Bible talks about families more than anything, parents and children, over 1,300 times. Because whatever the parents do affect the children. Whatever the children do affect the next generation. And then the cycle continues like that and continues like that. There is a scripture I came around in Jeremiah, and I thought I would read that to you. I'm reading from the New American Standard Bible. Permit me to read that. You can write this down to check it out later on. Jeremiah 31 verses 29 to 30. Jeremiah 31 verses 29 to 30. I'm going to read that. In those days, they will no longer say, the fathers have eaten sour grapes, but it is the children's teeth that have become blunt. But everyone will die for his own wrongdoing. Each person who eats their sour grapes, his own teeth will become blunt. Let me take it again. In those days, they will no longer say, the fathers have eaten sour grapes. Grapes that are sour, not bad for the teeth. But it is the children's teeth that have become blunt. When I read verse 29, I was a bit worried. I'm like, okay. Then I read 30 and my heart was at peace now. But everyone will die for his own wrongdoing. Each person who eats the sour grapes, his own teeth will become blunt. When I read this, I prayed for something to drop in my mind so I can share. What does it mean for fathers to eat sour grapes? And what does it mean for the children to have a blunt teeth? From a layman view, we're not talking about just grapes. We are talking about certain qualities of fathers, certain things that the fathers have done. That you see, sour grapes simply mean things that are not good. We are talking about things that our parents and our fathers have done which is not good, which will run down to the children that will come later. See, well, I understand this to mean that those days of generational curses and problems running through because of what our parents did, those days are gone. Now, we the children, we are going to be living and bearing the cross for the things we do ourselves. Now, there's a little bit of hope there, right? That the things that our fathers did should not visit us, isn't it? That's what we're hoping for, right? That the alcoholism of our parents don't visit us, isn't it? That when we live our own life, we'll be responsible for and take full responsibility for what we do with our own life. I thought that was a bit of respite. But I want you to know that many are sour grapes that our fathers have eaten in the past. And when I use father here, I'm using it generically to mean parents. And those grapes naturally have just affected the teeth of the children that come later on. Just because of what the fathers eat. Have you noticed you look like your parents? Have people told you you look like your parents? There is a reason why. Parents play an important role. They are custodians of God's commandments to the universe. Parents are stewards. They are supposed to be caretakers of the children. God has entrusted parents to play an important fatherly role and motherly role on earth, just like He, God, would have played it directly. So when the parents screw up, it goes a long way to affect the children. Parents are stewards, and the children are inherited their gift to the parents. I don't want you to think that our parents are perfect. You know, if you ever think you have a perfect parent, you are wrong. No man is perfect. At least not my dad. At least not me. I will not be a perfect dad. I'll have a lot of problems. But the most important thing is I'm aware that whatever I do today will affect this little man back there. You see that? I have to be conscious. Generational curses. I want you to sit back. Look deep in your family. Is there a crisis and a vicious cycle of unemployment and poverty? Lack of progress in your family? Is there a particular trend you see where everybody doesn't do well. I don't even want to focus just on material things. Is there a certain character trait you see running through the family that your siblings are not able to marry? The ones who come later don't marry? Everybody don't marry? Everybody just they give birth everywhere? Like, is there something running through the family that you are seeing? Is there something running through? I want you to look deep down. You are the only person who can answer this, so not me. Me, I have answered for myself. I have become conscious of it. And I prayed and I asked God to help me break that cycle. And He has done that already. In Jesus' name. I have been able to break that cycle by the power of God. But I'm asking you, have you had a chance to take a moment to look deep into your family to see the generational curses and the trend of problems that are running from one generation to the other? Let me use the Western culture here to give you an example. The obstetricians are the people who see, they are the doctors who see pregnant women before they deliver, and then sometimes after delivery, obstetricians. We generally call them OBs. My first time seeing an OB was when we first conceived and we had our baby, Joanna, in the belly. And we used to go see the doctor. I used to go every time with my wife. I used to go every time we had an appointment. I used to go. And then when I went to the waiting room, the reception, I was sitting down in line waiting for the doctor to call me and my wife to go inside. I was looking on the wall. They have posted some pictures and stuff there. So you know I'm a curious person, right? I stood and I read it. And then I was reading about how the sac, you know, the sac that contains the babies when before they are born, there is a sac, we call it amniotic sac. Those of you who are in the medical field, you can correct me. It's called the amniotic sac. It's like a sac that contains fluid, and the baby is kept in that sac. Basically, it is a sac that protects the baby. The baby gets all his nutrients from the liquid and the fluid that is inside. Apparently, when the mother eats, whatever the mother eats, some of it, whatever the mother takes, some of it go inside that sac and stays in the sac. Wow, I was fascinated. I had done biology in secondary school and junior high school, but I was fascinated learning about this part by just watching the chart. It didn't stop there. Then on the chart, it said that stop smoking. Don't smoke if you are pregnant. Don't drink if you are pregnant. Because everything you drink and smoke finds its way into this sac. Before your baby is born, it affects them already and their brain development and all of that. When I read it, I was shocked. I'm like, wow, this thing is boldly there. And when the pregnant women come, they see it. In fact, the education is out there to our pregnant women in the Western world. They educate them not to smoke when they are pregnant, not to drink when they are pregnant, not to do certain, not to use drugs when they are pregnant. Because they are not just taking in drugs that go into their body alone to hurt or to work in their body. A part of whatever they take goes into that sac. And the baby who is 3 months, 4 months, brains and limbs are forming already. These things are already entering the sac and they are finding themselves, their ways into the baby's body. So therefore, most of these children who are born, they are already born with brain development problems. They're already born with medical conditions. They're already born with certain disabilities and deficiencies. Just because their parents were consuming alcohol, their parents were consuming drugs, their parents were smokers, and all these things found themselves into the amniotic sac. Let me know if I'm wrong. There is a common disease. Some of them I don't know the names well. ADHD. You can Google it. ADHD, which is basically a disorder that some kids are born with just because their parents were smokers or drinkers or users of drug. And so when the kids are born, it affects their brain development already, and they don't function properly. Now, guys, in the Western world, ADHD and a host of other medical conditions in children are common medical conditions genetically, just because of the things their parents did, especially their mothers, during the 9 months of having them in their butt. See, the children had nothing to do with it, isn't it? They were babies. How could they have known? How could they have controlled their mothers? But look at the effect. By virtue of just what the mother did, the baby is already born with a deficiency. and a problem to start life with. You see most of the Western kids here already having all kind of medical condition, and you wonder where it's coming from. The things their parents did when they conceived them. It is what is affecting their lives today. You see many of them here mentally challenged. I'm not saying that there are others that are not because of other problems genetically and whatever in our DNA, but I'm talking about this particular one with just childbirth. I was fascinated. So whatever my wife eats when she's pregnant goes to affect how my child is developed in the body. Whatever my wife puts in the belly, whatever she does. Then wait a minute, you ask the question, do these parents know this? The answer is yes. Then if they know this, why they don't just stop the smoking? Why don't they just stop the drinking and the use of drugs when they are pregnant? They just can't. You know why they can't? Because it's an addiction and a habit they've built. Not just an addiction. For all you know, that is what their parents did before. And they've been doing this and they've run through it. If you are in the health sector, let me know if I'm wrong. Guys, have you seen how things are running through? So you see a lot of the kids today who are alcoholics. They are drug addicts. They may not have been introduced by their friends, huh? It's because they were already born with drugs in their system. These kids are already born drug high. They're already born with this stuff in their system already. It becomes so easy for them to smell it and go towards it and do it. See how these things affect us? Generational curses. Why do I call them a curse? Because these things are not from God. They are not from God. The devil's intention is to bring all the garbage of life into our lives. The devil's intention is to shape all the drugs, all the problems of life into our lives. They are not from God. The devil's interest is to see all of us getting destroyed like this. They are not from God. Even if God permits some of them to happen, because he intends to redeem us at a point. But God doesn't intentionally bring this kind of suffering to us. We invite them into ourselves most of the time. Where God allows some of them to happen to us, it is because he intends to glorify himself by using that as a point of contact to break things and cycles. You see that? Today I want to challenge you. Somebody is putting the name there, Brian Moses. Attention deficit or hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. Thank you for putting that, Brian Moses. I really appreciate that. The idea of knowing that whatever I do today affects the next generation of chocolate millionaire kids and my grandchildren alone puts so much responsibility on me to be a good role model. Our parents are the first role model in life to us. Our parents are the first mentors. You might not realize it. Your parents are your first mentor before your teachers in school. Your parents are the first mentors before you founded me on Facebook to even like me. Your parents were the first mentors. There's a good chance many of the things you have going on in your life, you pick them up unconsciously or consciously from your parents. Why? Because God made them your first contact. And God made them your first friends. And God made them your first best friends. And God made them your guardians. And God made them your stewards and your parents, for God's sake. And so therefore, they are the first to impact you directly. Whatever they do affects you. That is why if a generation of poverty runs in a family, all you need to do is to look back. When I was talking to my uncle this morning, he had some questions. He said at a point, he was asking himself, why is it that he's pushing and trying to live a better life? But the more he's trying, the more things are not working. He said he was talking to one of his auntie, my uncle, my younger uncle, he's very young. He said he was talking to one of his aunties, who I would say is my grandmother. And he was asking the auntie, what is it I have done wrong? Is it something that my father did in the past? Grandfather has died, by the way. He was asking these questions. He was asking these questions. Why was he asking? He's curious to know why. The more he's pushing, the more life is pushing against him. Is it something he's done? He's asking the same question in John chapter 9. Is it something I've done to deserve this? Is it something my father did? You see that? Sins of the fathers and our mothers affect us. Actions that our parents take affect us. We don't have parents who are perfect, but we can do something about it. Jeremiah 31 verses 29 to 30 tells us that no more will we get to the point where the sour grapes that have been tasted by our parents will be our portion. Meaning that you have the power to break that cycle. I tell you today, my friends, you have the power to break the cycle of poverty, the cycle of dying at tender age without seeing the fullness of your age and your life on earth. There are some families, they are nobody grows past a certain age. Nobody marries. At a certain age, they are just snapped, they are gone. There are some families, at a certain stage, you can just tell nobody lives long. Everybody, they die through car crash, through this. If this thing no kill them. Some of them, when they try going to university, by the time they get there, their life is cut off. There are some families, when they finish, they can't become anything. These things are all generational. I am not taking away the fact that your role, the role you play and the actions you take also play. But I'm saying that look at the root and see whether the root and the foundation of your family system and the things that your parents and your generations have done before could be behind us. If the generations before did not bless you, then they definitely cursed you. If the generation before you did not bless us, then they definitely cursed us by bringing curses into our lives. We are either blessed or we are cursed. It is up to us to sit back and look at this. And friends, I am saying that aside from the fact that the things in the past in our families can affect us, I'm also calling on you to know you have a personal responsibility. God has given you the free will and the power to break this. Sometimes we try to do it on our own by setting goals and ambitions big, and then we take God out. It doesn't work that way. There is nothing wrong with you setting personal goals and writing them and say you want to do this and break this and do that. But I can assure you that when you take God out of the equation, your life becomes a hopeless end. You will make all the money, but you'll still be frustrated. Connect back to God. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or you're not Christian. Sit back and look deep inside you. I know there is something deep inside you telling you you are missing something. Look back. He hears you. Ask for his strength to help you. I asked for that kind of strength when things were tough. I didn't even know God well. I was sinning. I was doing all kind of things. You can imagine teenagers did. When I was in the University of Ghana, I messed up. I did all kind of things. But when I called on him, he listened. He did not judge me. He did not condemn me. He told me to come to him. And he'll give me rest. He's giving me spiritual rest. And I feel fulfilled. And I pray that you connect with that God who knows you more than anything. He knows you before you were born. He knows the kind of family you're coming from. And he knows your family is tough. But he's willing to give you the enablement, the empowerment, and the grace to come out of it. Today, I want you to write in your diary if you can. I'll encourage you to do that. That you are going to look into your family and conduct a history. Look in your family. Look at your grandparents. Look at your aunties. Look at your uncles. Look at your cousins. Is there something that looks suspicious and is running? Write them down. And ask God to help you. Ask God to help you. If you are a Christian, look for a Bible-believing church. A church that preaches on the word. If you are not a Christian and you don't believe in Christianity, that is fine. But look inside you and ask God. Remember, God hears the voice of the unbeliever. He even hears the voice of the person who is not a Christian. Sit down deep inside you. Ask him. Man out there, old man, I know you are out there somewhere. Ask him. Say, please, I cannot do this alone. I can't do this alone. I need you. I don't even know you, but I know. Like, just ask him. He will show up when you don't expect him. Believe me. He will show up. He's already seeking for you. He's seeking you out. He's looking for you. When you ask him, and when your heart make mellow, if your heart they mellow, they soft, he will come. He'll come to you. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or you're not a Christian. It doesn't matter at all. I don't mind if you're an atheist. It doesn't matter if you're an agnostic. It doesn't matter if you, whatever you are. It doesn't matter if you're Buddhist. It doesn't matter if you're Muslim. It doesn't matter. I am saying deep inside you, if you think there is somebody beyond the sky, sit back. I don't even care whether it's prayers or it's not prayers. Just speak to him. Ask him. Genuinely from your heart, ask him. Old man, I know you are out there. I need your help. Help me. I need you to help me. He will help you. He broke the cycle of generational curse of blindness in the man's life in John chapter 9. He will do it for you. He's broken the cycle for many, many, many people. I come from a family with 15 or 16 kids. I don't even know. If you want me to know, I have to call my father and ask him to tell me if he has given birth again. No. I don't even know. Huh? But I know I have about 14 or 15 siblings. Huh? And yet God chose me and broke that cycle. That today, poverty is not my portion. Illiteracy is not my portion. Unemployment will not be my portion. Dying frustrated will not be my portion. Not traveling and not getting the chance to explore the universe and having passport to travel anywhere will not be my portion, because God has lifted me out. Does he hate my other siblings? He doesn't hate them. He's waiting for everybody to call on him. When you call on him, he will answer. When you call on him, he will answer. Generational curses are real. Abraham was blessed generations and generations by Melchizedek, our spiritual high priest, the Lord Jesus Christ. Why? Spiritual blessings are clear. Our parents may have tasted sour grapes. They may have messed up. They are not perfect. God knows it. They will never be. But God has given us the opportunity to break that yoke and cycle. Alcoholism will not be your portion. I was in university. I did not even realize. You are hearing this for the first time. Listen to me. I was in university. I did not even realize I was on the path of becoming the same as my father was. I started doing women. You know, say my wife there behind me. She knows this. University, I was doing women. Girlfriend. Those of you who know me back in Lagos, you know me. As ugly as I am, see, I was doing women. Say girlfriend here, girlfriend there. I used to go to the gym to build muscle to impress ladies. Those of you who know me back in University of Ghana, you know what they talk. Anybody who know me well know what they talk. Doing women, calling it intellectualism, being smart and doing this and doing this. Little did I know the devil was training me, grooming me to become like my father, When I realized, like, Jesus, help me break that cycle. Never will it be again. You will not even realize it. Some of us are womanizers and we think we are experts, PhD holders in womanizing. Removing pants. May God open your eyes. For all you know, your grandfather, your uncle, they were the experts. They were experts before you came. For all you know, look, it's the family. You were just running that tree. You were just running that course. The blueprint is already there from your family. And you think you are the wisest, handsome guy, just removing panties and stuff like that, isn't it? Some of us, the women, the kind of things we are going through, we think we are the first. And look deep in your family. Your grandmother has already done it, too. Your aunties have already done it in the past, too. Maybe you are doing it on a different level and it's different scale. God saved me from that. I would have become just like my father. Bobby Christina became just like the mother. She became the mother in everything. She even died just like the mother. Isn't it a shame? Bobby Christina died just like her mother, Whitney Houston. Do you see that? Isn't it a shame that the daughter had modeled the mother, who was the role model, so well that even in dying, she modeled the mother the same way. In dying, the same course. Isn't it? Some of the things happening to us today, we wouldn't even know why. May God break the cycle in your life. I speak this blessing into your life today. May God break that cycle, a vicious cycle in your life. That cycle and that pattern that makes you not even to trust God anymore. May God help you and give you the strength to break it. And may he glorify you. May his work be displayed through you. May God use you as a point of contact to break that cycle. May God use you as a point of contact to change that storyline for good. May God let you taste sweeter apples and sweeter grapes. May he take away all the sour grapes that are in your family line. May he change them for you. And may God open your eyes, your spiritual eyes, so that you can understand why you are doing the things you are doing today. Everything that is physical is first spiritual. The things that are happening to us today, they have already been orchestrated in the spiritual world already. All we need is the consciousness of spiritual awakening so we can be able to see it. The things that happened to Job in the Bible, they were already spiritually orchestrated. Job think that he was just there and he lost his 10 children. He was thinking that he was just there and all his businesses collapsed. Little did he know that in the spiritual world, the devil had all figured out the plan ready. May he open our eyes so that we can take that step and have that personal responsibility to act. Friends, as much as it is important to know what has happened in your family, the history and all of that, like the spiritual DNA of your family, I want you to know you have a personal responsibility. The personal responsibility is you asking for help when you need help. The personal responsibility is you taking actions when you should. The personal responsibility says that don't just blame your parents and sit down and do nothing. The personal responsibility taught me that it wasn't enough for me to blame my father and my mother and my grandparents. It's not enough for me to just blame them for what I've become today. The personal responsibility tells you that as much as you blame your parents for all of what you're going through today, you should do something about it. At least I read it in Jeremiah 31 verse 30. It said, no more will the day come when you will be blaming your parents for the sour grapes. You will now take full responsibility and find your own sweet grapes and taste it. You have to take responsibility. And that responsibility means spiritual responsibility and a physical responsibility. Spiritually, you have to allow God to help you. You can't do it alone. True blessings and blessings come from God. It doesn't come from man. It doesn't even come from material things of this world. Physically, you have to take an action. Take action. Ask for help. Take action. Draw close to Him. Take action and begin to work on yourself. And make that effort to break it. Break that cycle. Break those cycles. Break those vicious cycles. Make the effort to surround yourself with the people who have broken it already. And they are teaching you how to do it. Make the effort to begin to change your network. Make the effort to begin to change the things you begin to consume that encourage you to even do more. Maybe the reason why you are still drunk is because you have a lot of friends who are still drunkards. How can you be better when you are equally yoked with people like this? How can you be when you are walking in the council of drunkards? How can you be when you are walking in a council of friends who are PhD holders, humanizing and fraud and unemployment and complaining and whining and just complaining and nagging? How can you be? Take action. And above all, surrender to God and let Him fix you up spiritually. This is Choco Millionaire, and I hope this session blesses somebody. Even if one person gets blessed with this message, I am happy that God has delivered this message. Remember, I'm not a preacher. I'm just a street guy, and I believe God wants me to share my experiences. You see, if we can all share our experiences genuinely, they become testimonies to people, isn't it? There are many of us today who don't see why we should share our life experiences with others. Your experiences are not just for you. Your experiences are meant to build somebody. Today, I want you to find somebody around you. Don't just tell them about the good things happening in your life. Tell them about your real struggles. And let them know it is okay to struggle. And let them know there will be a day they will smile. I want you to become a testimony sharer today. Don't wait for a day where you get a car to share testimony. Share the little things that is happening in your life. Your little struggle, share with people. Share with your friends. We need more of such stories around every day. Enough of the days of waiting to share cars and mansions only when we get that. I want you to even learn to share your stories and your problems with true friends, to inspire people, to let them know it is okay to have a problem, but it is also okay to expect that God will work a solution. Will you become a testimony bearer today? We overcome the enemy by the words of our testimony. Do you see that? Revelations 12. We overcome the enemy by the blood of the Lamb and by the words of our testimony. Will you share your testimonies, or you are waiting for a BMW before you share? Will you share a testimony, or you are waiting for just a visa before you share? Share even your problems and let people know God has been with you through those problems. May God bless you. May your name be blessed today too. Share this video with somebody if you were encouraged by it. I have a review session on my Facebook page. If you look at the homepage, there is a button where it says reviews. If you did enjoy it, let me know how you think. Write a review. If you don't even like my content as well, I welcome you to drop a negative review on my review page. It will help me to be a better person. But above all, I want you to learn to share. And may you be a blessing. This is Choco Millionaire. You don't need more money. You need more wisdom. And one of the wisdoms I pray you get is the wisdom of discerning and looking into the history of your generations of families before you, so that you don't become something that you are on the process or in the process of becoming, so that you'll become everything God wants you to be for His glory. Amen. God bless you. Thank you today. I'll be coming to you again later this evening. I have a good friend of mine who is from Nigeria but lives in Canada now. He's a Canadian citizen, and he's a realtor and an investor as well. I intend to do a live video with him around 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, which will be around late 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. in Ghana. I encourage you to tune in if you can, especially if you're considering investing in Canada. If you've been asking the question, how can I buy properties in Canada? Can I use that to come to Canada? This friend of mine is going to be sharing some nuggets of wisdom, and I hope that he will bless you as well. Make time if you can tune in this evening, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, which will be around 8 or 9 p.m. your time in West Africa. If you are in East Africa, it will be about midnight there. But tune in and let us watch if you can. If you can also join us, you can also join and watch the playback later tomorrow when you have the time. God bless you. I don't want you to spend the whole of your day tuning in and watching me. If you have to take action, go take care of business and watch me when you have the time. I want you to learn to take responsibility and only watch Choco Millionaire when you think you have to. God bless you. Have a good day. Bye.